Is there a birthday in the house? Hey guys, my name is Lindsay and I am with Perfectly Pastry. Who is Perfectly Pastry? We are a local bakery in Waterloo, Illinois. How are you doing? If you're watching me live, use a heart. Let me know that you're watching me live. If you're watching me on replay, use hashtag replay. And if it's the first time you've ever caught me live, you drop me a little heart. Let me know, like, hey, it's the first time I caught you live. Hello, and thank you for hopping on. Yes, today, oh no, this way. Today is my birthday. It's my birthday, yes. I just want to go through a few things and then I thought we would do something fun today. So, you guys know that Valmeyer is having their 23rd annual dinner theater. And I do know that they do have a few tickets left. So if you're interested, you need to snag yourself a ticket. Definitely give the school a call and you can go ahead and reserve some last minute tickets that way. I wanted to let everybody know that today we have some fudgy brownies and the banana pudding cheesecake back in the shop today. I was like talking to my sister about how I've been like practicing adding a hook, you know, when I'm like doing my intro and stuff. So I chose, is there a birthday in the house? Which actually has a very funny story behind it. So several years ago, my husband and some of our friends, we went out to eat and it was one of our friends' birthday. And we went to like a teppanyaki, I don't know if that's how you say it, but like a Japanese where they like cook in front of you restaurant. And we were like, oh, it's her birthday. And they're like, okay, we need to see your ID. And we were like, oh, that's so weird. But okay. So she like shows her ID and everything. And we have dinner and like it's almost time to leave. And all of a sudden the lights go off in the restaurant. A disco ball, like type of thing drops from the ceiling. Okay, it probably didn't drop from the ceiling. It was probably there. It just looked like it dropped from the ceiling. And it like starts going off and this music's like, whoa, 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 is there a birthday in the house? And like all these people come to our table with like balloon hats and noisemakers and stuff and like start singing to her. Now, she's a pretty shy person and her face, like, oh my gosh, if she could run and hide, she totally would. It was the weirdest birthday celebration at a restaurant we have ever experienced. And that has probably been, we still lived in Crystal Lake at the time. So I think it had to be 10 years because I don't even know that my middle child was born. Like, I think I was even pregnant with her at the time. It was so crazy. So every time my husband and I always make that joke, is there a birthday in the house? And then we were like, around the house. Yeah, it's a thing. Anyways, doesn't really matter. So I thought today we would do something kind of fun. And, you know, like on Facebook, you'll see these like ask your spouse this question, ask your kids these questions, ask your parent this question, how well do you know somebody? I was like, I should get on here and just answer some of those questions for myself, right? So I had my sister help me like find them, and I did briefly look at them. I was like, well, maybe I should prepare my answers ahead of time. And then as I was reading them, like it actually required some thought. And I was like, you know, that kind of takes away the joy of doing it if I like prepare my answer ahead of time. So I was like, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to prepare my answers ahead of time. I'm just going to answer them when I read them. I did omit some of them because it technically was like, ask your spouse these questions about you. And some of them were like super weird. And I was just like, I'm not going to do that one on Facebook Live, but I did save quite a few of them. So I thought I would go through those questions and answer them. And I'd love to find out if any of your answers are kind of similar. Like, do we have something in common kind of thing? So the first question on there is, what is your full name? So my name is Lindsay Christina Meske. I was named after my mom. So Lindsay was my mom's maiden name. Christina is her first name. So that is how I got my name. And obviously I'm married, so I took on my husband's last name, right? The second question, which is kind of funny, is when is your birthday? Today is my birthday. I'm not going to give you the year because I don't want anybody to know how old I actually am. We're just going to pretend like I'm like in my like prime 20s. Let's just go with that, right? Like, you know, whatever. But today is my birthday. The next question is, what am I insecure about? And I was like, what am I insecure about? So I have two answers. Like my first answer was, I'm starting to get gray hairs and like I'm kind of insecure about them, but then I'm like, they kind of look blonde. So I'm just gonna pretend like I don't see them. Like, is Is that okay? Like, we'll just pretend like they're not there. The other thing was actually something I was talking to my sister about yesterday. So, whenever I send pictures and I do videos and stuff, like I never apply filters. Like, I just don't like filters. They're fun to play with. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love putting on a filter and then all of a sudden I'm like a hot dog. Or my sister did one when we were like ducks and stuff, right? Like, I like doing those kind of filters. But like those beauty filters, like I don't typically apply beauty filters because I have a pretty high confidence. Like, I just am. I take on I just don't really care kind of attitude. Like, you're either gonna like me or you don't. Now, some days are better than others. Some days I feel more confident, and some days I'm just like, I'm just not feeling very confident today. But majority of the time, I'm a pretty confident person. You either like me or you don't. You either like my looks or you don't. Like, it is what it is. Like, I wear makeup when I go live, but 99% of the time I don't even wear makeup because I'm just like, if you can't like me without makeup, then you don't get to like me with makeup kind of person. So again, I have a pretty high confidence. It's just kind of funny because my kids are pretty confident. And sometimes I look at my kid and I'm like, girl, like, get your confidence in check. But I never tell her that because like I never want to squash my kids' confidence. I'm just like, you do you, boo. But I'm like, man, the girl is so confident. I don't even know what to do with her sometimes. So with all that being said, I don't typically apply the beauty filters, not because they don't make me look better. Obviously, beauty filters make you look better, right? But anytime I put on a beauty filter, like I was taking pictures on the beauty filters and like all the other filters on Snapchat. And I was like sending them to my sister and I was like, haha. And I was like scrolling through and like I scrolled through and I was like, oh my gosh, like look at me. This must be like the aging filter. And I looked and I was like, oh, there's no filter. That's just my face. And I was like, I have never felt so like about myself than going from the beauty filter to like my natural face. And I was just like, girl, yikes. And I was like, okay, I'm not doing beauty filters anymore. Like, nothing made me feel crappier than a beauty filter. So, when do I feel insecure? Going from a beauty filter to a non-beauty filter made me be like, oh, like, girl, your wrinkles are starting to show. Like, what is up with that? And I was just like, no, I can't do that anymore. Literally a conversation we had at the bus stop with my sister. I think it was even yesterday. It might have been the day before. I don't even remember now. So what is my favorite food? I don't know. Can I have a genre of food? I love Mexican food. I love, well, Tex-Mex, I guess. I love chips and salsa, and I love fajitas, and I love tacos. Like make tacos or some type of Mexican food in my house every single Tuesday. Like, it's something I do. We're going out to eat, and I'm gonna get me some Mexican tonight for my birthday. I grew up in Texas, so I can't help myself. Like, I love me some chips and salsa. My sister and I have like the best salsa recipe that we got from our mom. We make it spicier than my mom. My mom's like, I cannot eat it when you guys make it because it tells me to de-seed jalapenos. And if you know anything about me, which I've told you before, I'm not a baker. I don't like to follow rules. Rules are not my thing. So I'm like, I am not de-seeding these things. That takes too much time. It burns my fingers and I accidentally touch my eyes. I'm not doing it. So I just like throw 3 jalapenos in, all seeded, and I just pray that it's not too spicy to eat, right? But oh my gosh, my sister and I, we like love it. Like, we'll go on road trips and we'll pack chips and salsa. People are like, let's grab some chips or let's bring sandwiches. My sister and I are like, let's bring chips and salsa while we go on this 10-hour drive because, like, who could live without chips and salsa? So probably chips and salsa are like my absolute favorite, to the point that it's a joke like between my in-laws. Like, whenever we go eat chips and salsa and stuff, like, they just give me my own bowl and my own chips. There's no point in even trying to share with her. Like, I don't share food very well. Like, I'm like, sure, you can have some of them, but you need to grab them ahead of time because like I eat really fast and I'm not very good at sharing. So if I say I'm going to share, you better just grab your portion while you can, or you're not getting any. Like, that is the truth of the matter. Not gonna lie, it is what it is. There is no shame in my chips and salsa game, like, for real. Right, so what food do I hate? I am a picky person. As I have gone keto and trying to cut carbs and stuff, I have learned to like foods that I typically don't like. So now I eat vegetables. It probably has to do with getting older and your taste buds change, blah, 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 blah. But I like to think that I'm like trying to be more adventurous with food. So we'll see. But like, I don't like seafood at all. It doesn't matter what kind of seafood. I don't like fried fish. I don't like shrimp. I don't like calamari. I don't like crab. I don't know what other kind of seafood there is, but I don't like seafood. Give me steak all day long. I love steak. I am definitely a steak kind of girl. I hate seafood. It does not matter what it is. Nope, I don't want it. I don't want to smell it. I don't want to try it. I don't want to taste it. I don't want to look at it. I just don't like seafood, which is kind of funny because I live in Florida. I'm kind of bummed I don't like seafood because obviously we have fresh seafood and I just don't like it. I'm like, I can't even bring myself to eat it. I'm not even like, oh, maybe I'll like try it. No, I'm not going to try it. It's not happening. Though I have gotten my kids to eat it, so that's good, right? Even my pickiest one. All right. What is my biggest pet peeve? What is my biggest pet peeve? I don't know. I could tell you guys some things about me that are like, okay, so I don't like when people don't listen to me. I'm kind of bossy. Like if you know me, you know I'm kind of like bossy and like in my head when I've got something I want done, like I have it envisioned and I want it done exactly that way. And so when it's not done that way, like I can get kind of grumpy. It's a huge pet peeve of mine. But I'm also the worst about planning anything. Like I don't plan things. I hate planning and putting timelines because when I put a timeline onto something, then now I'm expecting it to go that way. And if it doesn't go that way, then I get so upset. So I've learned to like just not apply any kind of timeline to anything. And it drives people crazy. So as you guys know, like I go back up north, right, for the month of July every year, right? Every year people are like, when are you heading up here? What is your plan? Where are you going? What are you doing? How are you getting here? How are my nieces come and visit me? How are the girls getting here? How are they getting done to you? And I'm like, I don't know. It is what it is. Literally, my husband's like, when are the girls coming down for the summer? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, well, have you and your sister talked about it? No. He's like, don't you think you guys should plan on it? No. I'm like, they'll come down when school's over. Well, when's school in? I don't know. Whenever they get out of school, like, why do we got to put pressure on it? Like, they get here when they get here, and then we go home when they go home. Like, my husband's like, that drives me crazy. I'm like, it is what it is. It drives my sister crazy, and it drives my mom crazy too. But it's because if I put something down and then it doesn't go to according to plan, like I can't handle it. Like that's the truth. Like I just can't handle it. So it's better if I just don't plan because then I can't be upset and then I'm just like, oh, whatever. But then I'm like super last minute about everything, which is can be crazy when you do it that way too. I really need to find a happy medium. Maybe next year I'll make that like my goal is to get better at that. It's not going to be this year. Don't even try. All right. So I guess that's my biggest pet peeve when people don't do what I want them to do. Like, yeah. I can't help it. I'm bossy. It is. What is something that always cheers me up when I'm sad? Good question. I like process things quietly in my own head. So like a lot of times I'm not very good at like sitting and talking it out. Like I need time to think. So what makes me happy? I love talking to my mom, my sister. They like usually help me like turn my mindset around. It's something that I've been really, really working on is like working on my mindset. So like instead of being negative, take a moment, recognize that I'm negative, and then try to figure out how to look at it in a more positive light so that I can be in control of my actions, I can be in control of my emotions, and I can be in control of what I do with what happens. Like that's been something I like started working on last year and I really, really pushed on working through it more and more over the past year. And doing so, I have found myself become more confident in myself, in my abilities, and my worth. And knowing that I have faults, like we all have faults, knowing I have faults, trying to work on my faults, but then realizing that I could be a better person. I could be a better spouse. I could be a better mom and like trying to look at those things. And so I'm always like trying to look at a situation and then rephrase that situation so that I have a more positive mindset. Like that's really the truth of the matter. And that has been helping me be more cheerful. But, you know, I talk to my mom, my sister, they make me cheer up too. Um, so the next question is, what did we do for our first date? Obviously, like this is, you're supposed to ask your significant other or your spouse or whatever. So I'll just tell you what my husband and I did for our first date. It wasn't officially a date. We were just friends at the time. And we went to the City Museum in St. Louis, Missouri, and we had a blast. We went to the, I don't know if we went out to eat or anything like that, but like the City Museum is where we like first just like we were hanging out. We worked together. And so we were like, oh my gosh, it's so much fun. Like we should go. So we got a group of people and we went. The first like actual official date that my husband and I ever did, we went to eat at Maggiano's, which is kind of funny because my husband and I, we got married young. We had our wedding like in a park. It was a very small wedding. I think there were like 11 people there. And then our reception, we all went and ate at Maggiano's because that's where we went for our first official date. So that's something that you might not have known about my husband and I. What is my biggest fear? Ugh, that is such a terrible question. I'm a total worrier. Like, I have like pretty high anxiety, right? Somebody who's like, oh, I'm confident. I have high anxiety. Like, I worry about everything. Everything is always on my mind. something happening to my kids would be my biggest fear. Like something that keeps me up at night, something I dwell on. Um, I just my kids. I mean, I'm a mom, so what can I say? My kids, something happening to my kids, that's probably my like biggest fear. Or like I do something to like mess them up and then they have to go through years of therapy because I was like such a terrible mom. Like that's another thing I think about too. I think about a lot of things like that, weird things. If I could travel anywhere, where would I go? So, I don't know. I used to know this question, and I would have said like Ireland or Scotland or Paris, but I've actually been to Paris. My mom went to Ireland, so that one's. I still want to go there. Totally want to go there. I haven't decided. Like, if I had to like pack up and could go anywhere, I don't know. I know that I really want to go to Ireland and Scotland. Hopefully one day my mom and I will definitely be able to go together. I'm not gonna lie, I was really jealous when she went without me because I thought it was gonna be our trip, but it's okay. She went with my aunt, so I forgive them because I love my aunt. But the other thing is my family wants to take a trip to Japan. As you know, like we're huge Disney fans. I've talked about that before. And so like our goal, my kids are all 4 years apart. So my goal is as my kids graduate, we're going to go visit a Disney that's overseas. So the first plan, which is supposed to happen in 4 years, is when my oldest graduates. The plan is to go to Japan. So right now, like that has been in the forefront of our minds. We're like always talking about like when we go to Japan, what are we going to do? When we go to Japan, let's put this on our list. We've just now started like looking into what it's going to cost and stuff. We started to do it, and then obviously COVID happened, so like you couldn't even look into that stuff because everything was shut down. So obviously we had to kind of wait until things opened back up. But now we're going back at it and like looking at like where we want to go, where we might stay. We're looking into like finding a travel agent and all that kind of stuff because like our biggest goal is to do like this big trip for our kids when they graduate. So right now, Japan is the one that's on the brain the most, and it's something that we talk about the most in my house. What are my long-term goals? My long-term goal is to see Perfectly Pastry be a successful company. That is really important to me. My long-term goal is to see me and how I grow as a person and where I'm able to take my life. So I got some big aspirations there. What are my talents? Ugh. So I don't have talents in the sense of like, I don't play instruments. I cannot sing. I played the trumpet in middle school, but that doesn't count. I don't play instruments. I'm like not like a professional dancer or any of those things. So if you ask me what my talent was for the longest time, I'd be like, I don't have any. But I've realized that I do have some really interesting talents. I am really great at looking at problems and coming up with unique ways to solve them is something that I've learned is really up my alley. I've learned it a lot over the last 2 years. And that I can kind of take a situation and think really differently because I'm not stuck in like, well, this is how it always is. Like I really push against the boundaries of this is how things are supposed to be. It's something that I did as a teenager, which wasn't as great as a teenager. Now that I'm an adult, it actually works out really well in my professional life, pushing against boundaries. So I realized I'm really good at that. I'm really good at being like, well, that's dumb. I'm going to do it anyways. Kind of thing. Yeah, it's my thing. It's my superpower. Oh my gosh, I didn't expect this to take so long. All right, I'll try to be a little faster. Here's a really weird one. The next question is, what is my favorite smell? I don't have a favorite smell. I find that to be super weird question. I don't like scents. That's probably why I don't have a favorite smell. Scents give me a headache. They give my sister a headache, and they give my mom a headache. We don't do scents. I don't do perfume. I don't do candles. I don't do scents at all. So that's probably why I don't have a favorite smell, because I was like, who has a favorite smell? But I guess people probably do. I'm just like, no, thank you. I don't like to smell. I don't even walk down detergent aisles. Like I hold my breath, grab what I need and go because I cannot stand it. It gives me a headache. What is my favorite pastime? We all know I love to read. I love reading. It's something I love to do. I do it all the time. Lately, I've been doing more professional reading versus relaxed reading, but reading is my thing. I get lost in time. People get lost watching movies and video games and things like that. And I could read for hours on end and like not even know that the world is falling apart around me kind of thing. Do I have any allergies? I thought that was a really weird question. One kid is allergic to bath bomb and the other one is allergic to antibiotics, but I don't know that I'm allergic to anything, but I do have allergies. Florida, look, I wake up every day and I like scratch my neck. There's a pollen in the air that happens at this time of the year. And in Florida, like it gets me, like my skin itches, my nose gets stuffy, like I'm sneezing, my eyes, oh my gosh, my eyes have been so bloodshot and itchy lately because of it. I'm like having to take allergy medicine all the time. So there's something in the air. I don't know what it is. I took a picture of the screenshot because I keep getting weather alerts. It's like juniper And I don't even remember the others, but I was just like, obviously it's one of these 3 pollens that I'm allergic to. And then the other question was like, if I could be any animal, what would it be? I skipped one. It was like, what is the best childhood memory? I don't know. I had a wonderful childhood. I have great memories of my family. I have great memories with my sister. Like, I have a lot of great memories. So I didn't really have one that I could pinpoint. And the other one was, if I could be any animal, what would it be? My sister and I were talking about animals earlier. She was telling me about a shark that's this like little fishy shark thing. It's really tiny. It's in Australia. And it like, when the water gets low and it's like close to not being able to breathe anymore, it like walks. It uses its fin on all 4 and it kind of like walks to water. And I was like, oh my goodness, I think the immortal jellyfish is really cool. So there's something called an immortal jellyfish. I'm not going to try to pronounce its actual name. And it can actually cycle through its life cycle whenever it's in danger. I actually saw it for the first time on Aquanauts, like Disney Junior Aquanauts, when Sloan was at home with me. And then I like showed my kids, and then we've seen it a couple of different times. It's like one of our favorite animals. Madeline and I, my middle child, we talk about it all the time. So I guess if I could be an animal, it would be an immortal jellyfish. And as a matter of fact, my husband and I were talking the other day about how like dolphins can be kind of creepy because like they're so intelligent. Like, what happens if one day they like evolve and they like start walking around on land with us? It was a really creepy decision, like conversation we had. I know. Anyways, all right, guys, I will stop jabbering on. I did not mean to make it so long. I'm so sorry about that. Anyways, I just want to hop on and say hi to all of you guys. I'm so glad that you guys joined me this week. Remember, we go live every single week. It's at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central here on our Facebook page. Speaking of that, if you're watching this live, then you should be liking and following us on Facebook. If Facebook is not your jam, totally get it. We are on other social media. Facebook is the only one that we are at, Perfectly Pastry Bakery. All the other social media, we are at Perfectly Pastry. All right, guys, since I've jabbered on and my throat is kind of going dry from talking nonstop, I'm going to hop off of here, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you again next week. Bye, you guys.